Hi there, I'm so glad you're here. I just wanted to share a few thoughts today about perfectionism. I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's something that I have struggled with a lot in my life, and something that I really kind of overcame. And so I kind of want to share with you how I overcame that and maybe some things that you can do to help you overcome your perfectionism. I think it's something that everybody, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people struggle with. It could be for cultural reasons, it could be for personality reasons. I have both of those things. It could be inherited. There's a lot of different things that might play a factor in why we are struggling with perfectionism and feeling like everything has to be perfect, everything we do has to be perfect. But that can be a really debilitating thing and a really unhelpful thing in our lives for us to function at our best and to, have the optimal life and relationships. Even it can impact relationships. It can just really wreak havoc on our lives. And so um, I like to think of it, I'll just share some instances of how I began to recognize it in my life, that it was a problem, and how I overcame it. I did therapy for a number of years, and I did really hard work in therapy. Like, I did a lot of awareness, a lot of journaling and writing and looking at my thoughts and analyzing my thoughts. And perfectionism is something that came up as being a real struggle for me, and that's kind of how I discovered it. Was a lot of just self-reflection, and even seeing it and starting to recognize it in the people around me, just being more aware, more self-aware, and more observant of ourselves and those around us, just to kind of recognize the different behaviors that we have in perfectionism. Like, it could be maybe your house has to look perfect all the time, maybe your yard has to look perfect all the time, maybe you're paralyzed to create anything because you're worried it's not going to be perfect. There are a lot of different ways that perfectionism can manifest and can hinder us. And I definitely was finding a lot of that. And I worked through a lot of that in therapy, a lot of like challenging my thoughts and trying to do things better, and learning that it's okay to make mistakes. And a lot of it was a lot of belief work and changing my beliefs. But I will share a story. I like this example of overcoming, different aspects of perfectionism in our lives by just thinking like a switch. Um, so like, just picture a switch, and it's maybe your switch is on perfectionism. Things have to be perfect all the time. Like, it's okay to just flip the switch. So this happened for me once. I was living in Maryland, and I was homeschooling my kids at the time. I homeschooled my kids for a lot of years, and I am somebody, I just function better if my house is clean. Like, my vibrations are higher, I feel happier, I feel calmer. It is very much a part of my personality. But I remember I just was starting to feel really frustrated about how messy my house was all the time. Because when your kids are home all the time and you've got books out and activities out and everything, like, your house is kind of a mess all the time. That's one of the downsides of homeschooling for sure for me. But I remember one day I was just kind of like, feeling that frustration and like just feeling upset about it. And I just kind of flipped a switch. I was like, you know what? It is not that important that my house is clean. And so what? If the floors needed to be swept for 5 days now, like, it's like I just flipped the switch and I was like, not important anymore. At least not more important than my kids, or, the education that I'm trying to give them, or the activities that we had planned, or maybe the rest that I need from being so tired. Like, I was able to just kind of flip a switch, and it just went way down. It's like I shot it down my priority list, and it's still down there. And I love that, because while I do function better when my house is clean, um, I've just been able to, like, I don't know, shift my priorities and my thinking so that while I still love that and I love it when it happens, it doesn't have to be like that all the time. And it's okay if it's not like that all the time. Um, so, at the time, we had kind of a regular house cleaning schedule anyway. Every Saturday, everybody had a job, and everybody's job was to clean something. And the house was actually really clean on Saturday. And it was really clean for, 24 to 48 hours, and it was lovely. And still to this day, When I spend time cleaning my house after it's clean, I just am like, oh, it feels so good. I love it when my house is clean. But the rest of the time, it's whatever. Like, it's okay. It's okay that it's not perfect. And, you know, overcoming perfectionism can be that simple. And maybe you have, a huge switchboard that's got like, 50 switches on it that need to be switched over. And that's okay. Just work at it one at a time. And especially, I think, when it comes to our creativity and putting things out there in the world, it's hard. I've written and published a few books back in the day, and it's hard putting yourself out there and knowing that there are mistakes in your creative work, and knowing that people see those mistakes, and that can be a hard thing. I know firsthand that can be a hard thing. I also know that we move on, and I'm grateful that I did that. I'm grateful that those books are out there, even though they're not perfect. And I think that learning to flip that switch in our lives can really help us to have better lives, to put more good in the world, to experience more joy and higher vibrations and less frustration and angst and all the things. And that's just kind of what I've been thinking about this morning. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you're doing on your journey. If you've got perfectionism that you struggle with in your life, how is that going? What do you need? How can I help? You can always email me at sunriseenergyhealing@protonmail.com or leave a comment below. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you next time. Bye.